Shalom, brothers and sisters. Peace and blessings to you all. Hope all is well with you guys. This is another wonderful day that Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai has created. Have mercy on the ones that did not live to experience this day. This is another lesson concerning Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. I'm your host, Shabar Judah Israel, coming at you guys with another edition through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus the Christ. Double honors to the elders and salutations to the Akim that's pushing his truth in season and out of season, also week in and week out, edifying the lost sheep of the house of Israel, which is truly according to the biblical heritage and the prophecies, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This lesson is going to be concerning the kings and prophets of Israel. Okay, so I have the folder already cooked up for you guys. Kings and Prophets of Israel is the title for this lesson. We're going to be talking about kings and prophets of Israel. Right, so we're going to go into page 107 in this book titled The Complete Guide to the Bible by Stephen Miller. This is page 107 to The Complete Guide to the Bible by Stephen Miller. I will show you exactly how this book looks. Don't rely on this book. Don't rely on 100% information from this book. Okay, I'm going to tell you, do not read this book with a mentality or believing that everything in this book is true, because it's not. We have to discern what's right and what's wrong. There are many philosophies, there are many books out here, but that doesn't mean that they are 100% correct. So we have to decipher. We have to basically, distribute the right from the wrong, distribute the facts from the opinions. Okay, because at the end of the day, Stephen Miller, the guy behind this book, these are truly just his opinions. That's what a commentary is. It's just someone else's opinions. So I wouldn't really recommend you to 100% rely on just commentaries you come across in these bookstores, because at the end of the day, we know how to understand the Bible correctly is to read precept upon precept. All right, line upon line, here a little and there a little, just like Isaiah 29 and 10 states, I believe. No, not Isaiah 29 and 10, but it's Isaiah, the book of Isaiah. So this is Isaiah 28 and 10. Salah. Forgive me, brothers and sisters, for calling the wrong chapter. This is Isaiah 28 and 10. Let's go to the prior chapter, and we'll show you that even though we're going into this commentary, remember that everything in this commentary is not correct. So we're going to show you how to get proper correction of the Bible and not lean on commentaries. Isaiah 28 and 10. But let's go to Isaiah 28 and 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? Brothers and sisters, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Because when you start out in this truth, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, when you start out in this truth, you start out as a baby, man. You start out as an infant that basically are nurtured by milk. But then gradually, as you gain knowledge through this truth and you start to elevate, then you are drawn from the breast to later on get tougher lessons and get darker, deep down breakdowns of the lesson. You're drawn from the milk to go to that meat stage. But when you come into this truth, you're like a baby, man, that is nurtured by milk. So how you teach a baby in the truth? Basically how to read and understand the scriptures. Isaiah 28 and 10. For precept must be upon precept. Now, precept is what they call a cross-reference. A cross-reference. Like, you may come across a book, chapter, and verse in the Old Testament that may be a cross-reference to some type of book, chapter, and verse in the New Testament. And you will use those cross-references to get understanding. Like, I'm gonna give you a perfect understanding. Like, okay, when you read about Genesis, it talks about in the book of Genesis, in the beginning, there was a tree that was in the midst of the garden, and this tree was known as the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? And the Lord, Yahweh, told Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree. If you don't have proper understanding, you would think it's talking about literal consumption. You would think it's talking about actual taking a fruit from a tree and eating, but it's not talking about that. If you use precept or cross-reference, you'll understand when it mentions that Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Basically, you have to use precepts because the answer to Eve eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil is actually somewhere in the New Testament. You understand? And if you find that in the New Testament, it'll tell you that this wasn't even actual fruits that this tree bare. The fruits is someone's ways or actions. You understand? So that's like precept upon precept. I'll show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll get back to Isaiah 28 and 10, and then we'll go on into the lesson concerning the kings and prophets of Israel. So let me get, because I don't want to leave you guys in the dark. Let me show you, I'm going to give you a presentation what a precept upon precept is, or what they call a cross-reference. So let me give you a quick presentation, okay? This is Genesis 3 and 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. Okay, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. If you don't use precept upon precept, like Isaiah 28 and 10 state, if you don't use precept upon precept to get your answers, you're going to start leaning on your own understanding, and you don't supposed to do that, because you're going to literally start thinking that this is an actual fruit. You understand? So we're going to show you how Isaiah 28 and 10, why it states precept upon precept, or some may call cross-reference, to get understanding what is this fruit of this tree which is in the midst of the garden, that the Most High God said that ye shall not eat, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Now what is that fruit? Remember to use precept upon precept, and don't lean on commentaries, okay? Don't lean on commentaries. Use precept upon precept, because a commentary can tell you that the fruit was an actual apple or any type of like a banana or something. The commentaries would probably go off and tell you that. So you can't lean on these commentaries, brothers and sisters. You have to read precept upon precept, and we're going to show you the cross-reference pointing out this fruit, because it's not an actual fruit with seeds. Okay? Now, it goes on to say in Genesis 3 that in 6, when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, it tell you that she took of the fruit thereof, and that she eat. She took of the fruit and eat, and gave also to her husband with her. Many of you have been led to believe this is a fruit that's actually being eaten, like an apple or something like that. But it's not. And the reason why many of you think that is because many commentaries out here would tell you that the fruit was an actual apple. But a commentary is just, at the end of the day, is another man's opinion. So, brothers and sisters, how we get the proper correction? We read precept upon precept. We read line upon line. You know what I'm saying? We analyze each line, okay, upon this verse, and we hear a little and there a little, because you're not going to learn the whole entire Bible within one day. So take your time gradually. Hear a little and there a little. But we're going to show you precept upon precept is what you would call modern day cross-reference to get your understanding. So what is the actual fruit that the woman ate? The fruit of the tree which was in the midst of the garden, that the Most High said, ye shall not eat of it. Then you discover to find that the woman went on, she took of the fruit of thereof and did eat. Now what is this? Well, now I'm going to show you just a presentation, the precept to this concerning Isaiah 28:10, because this is how you should teach knowledge to those that are babes, that are still on the breasts, that are new to this faith. This is how you would teach them how to understand the Bible. Cross-reference, precept upon precept. So we're going to give you a presentation. What is this fruit? Now let me show you the cross-reference. So now we're going to show you concerning Isaiah 28 and 10, the precept to Genesis 3 and 3 going down to 6. And we're going to show you that it's not an actual fruit by using what? By using precept. Okay, so let's show you that this wasn't not an actual fruit by using precept. Okay, now this is the cross-reference, or some may say precept. Now we had to go way into Matthew the 7th chapter to give you the cross-reference to Genesis 3 and 3 down to 3 and 6 concerning what? Concerning the fruits of this particular tree of knowledge of good and evil. We had to go to give you a cross-reference. So we had to give you a precept which is located way in Matthew chapter 7 to give you understanding of Genesis 3 concerning this fruit that the woman did eat. And that is called precept upon precept, or cross-reference. So that precept, the Genesis 3, concerning that fruit is way in Matthew chapter 7. And we're going to read it. Y'all guys are ready? So let's read it. Matthew 7 and 15. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Okay? Watch this. Matthew 7 and 16. Ye shall know them by their what? By their fruits. Do man gather grapes or thorns, or figs or thistles? So it's telling you you should know prophets, or so-called prophets, who claim to be divine men of the Most High. You shall know them by their fruits. Now, is this talking about apples, oranges, bananas, pears, pineapples? No, it's talking about actual their way. You should know them by their conduct. You should know them by their behavior, their ways. So fruits is pointing to someone's conduct, actions, and how they conduct themselves, their ways, how they conduct themselves. See, Matthew 7 and 17. And even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruits. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruits, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. And it's not talking about literal fruit that you consume. It's talking about a person conduct, a person behavior status, their ways. See, Matthew 7:18, a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Now it's relating trees to people here, because a good person can't bring forth evil ways and evil attributes. That's not in a good person. A good person is set to do good and righteousness. So referring a tree to a person that cannot bring forth evil fruit. A good person cannot bring forth wickedness, because they've been born to have a set heart to do good. It says, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth evil fruit. So a wicked ass person, which is evil to the core, which is just diabolical, notorious, and wicked, they cannot bring forth good fruit, because it was set in their heart to do wicked attributes, man. So this relying trees, the people which bring forth, good or bad conduct. And your good or bad conduct is based upon your fruits. You understand? Matthew 7 and 19. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast in the fire. So it's telling you that a wicked man, a wicked woman, or a wicked child that is referred to a tree that don't bring forth righteous acts, righteous conducts, righteous morals. If you don't bring forth righteous status and keep the laws of the Heavenly Father and do righteously, then you're gonna be cast into the fire, which relating to upcoming Third World War, which leads to nuclear destruction. That's all it's talking about. Matthew 7 and 20. Wherefore by their fruit shall ye know them. So we had to go to Matthew chapter 7, 16 through Matthew chapter 7, verse 20 to understand Genesis, 3 and 3 to Genesis 3 and 6. And we know now by using what? We know now that the fruit that was of the tree, by using precept upon precept, or what you would call cross-reference, we know by using precept upon precept or cross-reference, we can identify what the fruit is by using cross-reference, which may take us to Matthew chapter 7 to let you know that the fruit is a certain person conduct or ways, their character. You understand? So basically what was said in Genesis 3:3, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. So that let you know that there was a certain tree in the midst of the garden. Now this wasn't a literal tree. This was a certain evil, wicked nation of people. This wicked nation of people had bad fruits. You know, using cross-reference of precepts to Matthew chapter 7. So this wicked nation of people was referred to a tree which was in the midst of the garden that had bad fruits. And he told Adam and Eve not to eat of that particular tree. Neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. So this particular tree, which was an evil nation of people, they had bad character. They had bad attributes. They had bad conduct. They had diabolical, notorious ways. And God told Adam and Eve to stay away from that tree, to stay away from those evil people. Just like it's relating to trees right here, it related trees right here in Matthew chapter 7 to false prophets. False prophets. See? Said you would know these false prophets by their fruits. So these false prophets was identified as trees that brought forth what? Bad fruits, man. See? So that's what I'm telling you. If you don't use precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, man, and then you go and buy a commentary at the store. You know, you buy these different books and whatnot. You go and buy these commentaries, you know, and you know, just commentaries and stuff, different philosophies and books at the store, and you depend on these books or whatnot, these commentaries to show you the legitimate truth. And then these commentaries end up telling you that there was an apple in the garden. You're not reading the precept upon precept. You're leaning on another man's philosophy. And that's why, as beginners in the truth, as babies being in the truth, as a young man, young woman coming into this truth, this is how you should teach. Whom shall he teach knowledge? Or whom shall he wean? Whom shall he make understand doctrine? So how you going to understand the true doctrine? You got to, and how you going to become from a babe to a full-grown adult? Because you got to get out this milk, and eventually you're going to get to meat. But how do you get to the milk from the meat? Precept upon precept, line upon line, using cross-references to get your understanding of this Bible. And looks like the Spirit is taking me somewhere else. I'm going to have to do a part 2 now, because I said this lesson was concerning kings and prophets of Israel. But the Spirit is taking me totally somewhere else, which I don't have a problem with that. I'm just guided whatsoever the Spirit may lead me. So precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. You don't have to run and get commentaries to understand the Bible. This is how you read the Bible, using cross-references to get your understanding. So we'll give you one more verse and we'll close out with this lesson. And I'll come back with a part 2 to really go into kings and prophets of Israel, because I supposed to went into that, but the Spirit is taking me obviously somewhere else, but that's okay. So Psalms 119, 104. Okay, and it says, through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. What is the false way? Commentaries, philosophies, going to the bookstore, getting all these commentaries to understand the Bible, when you don't need to do that. This is how you get understanding of the scriptures. Psalm 119, 104. Through the precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. What is a false way? Philosophies, commentaries. Okay, these are false ways. Because it's just at the end of the day another man's opinion. Okay, so he may tell you that the fruit in this book was an apple. You understand? He may tell you that the fruit in this book was a fig. He may tell you that the fruit in this book was a pomegranate. But that ain't what the Bible said the fruit was. You understand? If you use precepts to get understanding, the Bible tells you that a person's fruits, by their fruits, you know, it tells you it's basically their ways, their conduct. So I said that to say this, man, Psalms 119, 104. Through thy precepts, you get understanding. And if you don't use precepts upon precepts, every other way is a false way. pursuant to Isaiah 28 and 10. That's how you really understand the Bible. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little and there a little. You know, precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little and there a little. That's how you understand the Bible. You understand? Okay? This is Isaiah 34 and 16. 34 and 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. None one of these shall fail. So you have to read these scriptures, man. You have to read these book, chapter, and verses. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No, none one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. Now, what is a mate to the Bible? The Bible has several mates. Like a mate to the Bible is commentaries. Because you know, a mate is like friends. You know, like a mate, a roommate. You understand? It's like a friend. Or if you're in the incarceration system, if you're in the prison system, they have cellmates. You know, prisoners that, you know, become friends, roommates, cellmates. You know, a mate is a friend. So when it says in Isaiah 34 and 16, if you seek out of the book of the Lord, what is the book of the Lord? The Bible, man. If you seek out of the book of Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, and read, no one of these shall fail. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you will not fail. Because the Bible is all you need at the end of the day. And none shall want her mate, because the Bible has plenty of mates. Like, Bible has plenty of friends. Really, there ain't no friend at all to the Bible. But the Bible has plenty of mates, such as commentaries, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The Bible has the Quran and the Pearl of Great Price and so forth, man. Many other philosophies and commentaries and different books, those are referred to the Bible's mates. And it says, none shall want these mates. If you seek out of the book of the Lord and you learn how to read it correctly, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. Through the spirit it hath gathered them. See, so seek ye out of the book of the Lord, the Bible of Yahweh, and read it, man. And when you understand precept upon precept, line upon line, on how to really break down the scriptures, none one of you blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, which is the Israelites, according to the heritage and biblical prophecies, none shall want the mate of the Bible, which is plenty other commentaries and philosophies out there, other books. So I said that to say that, man. Said this to say that. Like I said, this is supposed to be a lesson on kings and prophets of Israel. The Spirit took me somewhere else. I'm not mad with that, so I'm coming back and making a part 2 concerning Solid Foundation Israelite Academy, kings and prophets of Israel. So I will make that in part 2, and I hope you was edified with this lesson. May this suffice you, and shalom.